bits of like the kind of bits of brand strategy that I do, or some product photography that I could do in the house, that kind of stuff I could still go ahead with. But I was kind of thinking like, where am I going to come up with content to share if I can't be out taking photos? So I started trying different things like doorstep photo shoots, and I was doing them for some of the businesses in the area that had reopened to do takeaway, like a couple of local cafes and gift shops, and did a blog post highlighting them and just things like that. So that didn't cost me anything. It was my time. And no, I didn't make any profit off of that. I didn't get paid to do it, but those are relationships that you're building. And you're right, if you shout out about other people's businesses, it's going to come back to you. And no, it's not the only reason you do it. Of course, it's, you know, as you said, it's great to just highlight other small businesses and kind of keep this whole shop local and shop small kind of momentum moving forward. But it always kind of comes back to you as well. I think I'm not like a big karma person or anything. I'm not maybe not quite optimistic enough to think that, but I do really see that the value in building that community, and it makes using social media more enjoyable as well when you feel like you're surrounded by all these lovely, supportive, encouraging people, and to be one yourself.
And you feel like you've got like proper friends. I have not met so many people that I feel like I know from social media. I forget that I haven't met them in real life. I feel like I know them, and I know them really well. And it's just super weird, but it's such a lovely, I know there's bad things to social media, and I'm saying how amazing and encouraging and blah, blah, blah. And people are probably like, oh, go get another cup of coffee in your special cup. But in my experience, there's always negatives to things. I get that. But in my experience, I found Instagram to just be amazing for small businesses, even again before the whole COVID thing. It's just so encouraging. And I bought so much stuff from Instagram though in the last 6 months. It's probably not great.
I know it's been really handy for Christmas shopping though, because even just silly things like, for example, I always buy Charlie like a Christmas outfit. Everybody buys their kid a Christmas outfit. And normally I'm quite lazy and I just go get one at Next or whatever. I'm out shopping and I just buy what's there. And this year I was like, no, I'm going to be a bit more purposeful, you know, and I always try and support small, but I don't maybe go out of my way to do it. Whereas this year I was like, no, we're going to see like how much we can get small and local. I know you did a great post about that. Actually, it was a video that you made about about shopping local at Christmas, but even using hashtags on Instagram, for example. So I was looking up like children's clothing, handmade, whatever things I was looking up for hashtags. And I ended up finding like a whole ton of my gifts that way, just either by businesses I already followed or just by doing a little bit of recon, like using Instagram almost like a Google search, and it worked great.
Amazing. And that's why you have to use hashtags. I'm always banging on about hashtags. You can use up to 30, don't use 4. Yeah, that is exactly it, because I was telling someone that just the other day about, they were asking me about hashtags, you know, what's the best way to find hashtags and all this sort of stuff. And I said, if you think about what people are searching to find your business, they're the hashtags you should be using. So that's sort of like a really good demonstration of how, you know, hashtags so work. I bought so much. I found an amazing chocolate shop the other day that is like Scottish and Icelandic.
Oh,
I know. And it was through Instagram because someone tagged me in it. Did I go on there and buy everything I could? Yes, I did. Am I going to be fatter? Yes, I am. But I'm like, they tagged me and I looked at the one picture and I was like, oh my God, this looks amazing.
You're right. I mean, I think the power of it is that simple. It is somebody tagging you in a post of something they think that you might like, or you're doing a little bit of research, or maybe you're looking for some like-minded people to follow when you come across another business. I mean, it is, yeah, there are some bad things about social media, and I sometimes get that sort of burnout feeling if I feel like I've been on it a lot, or, you know, if there's just loads of other stuff going on. But I think the pros definitely outweigh the cons, especially right now. I mean, this has really allowed us to stay connected to people and to work in different ways that we wouldn't have been able to do if it weren't for technology.
Totally. And I think a lot of businesses have pivoted a lot, haven't they? To like a few businesses I love have gone online that had never been online before. Until the last 6 months. And it's just fab. Even just getting tagged, although I did say to my husband recently, people that don't follow my feed will probably not know, I'm a little bit sweary, to say the least, but I'm Australian and this is part of our charm. which is what I tell people constantly. And so I do swear a lot in real life. I try not to swear around my little boy, but it's only a word. It's not going to hurt him. It's fine. And I said to my husband, it was about 3 weeks ago, I think I maybe need to tone it down a bit, because 3 different people had tagged me on business posts that were either sweary, or one was a candle with the middle finger sticking up. I mean, I wanted, and it was pink glitter. Oh my God. It was actually a designer, and she'd had it in a mood board, and she'd sort of hidden it in the back. I'm not going to say who it was, but she's extremely talented, in case she's listening, even if she's not. And she tagged me and said, I thought of you. But in their defense, I mean, I'm not going to tone it down, because that's just not how I am. But in their defense, every single thing they tagged me in, I went to the website and had a look and was like, oh, I want this. I mean, it works, doesn't it?
It does. And I think, you know, I kind of like that you are sweary, because it feels, I hate the word authentic because it's super cringy, but like it feels like you, and now, you know, I know because I've spoken to you, I know that that's how you sound. So I think as long as you're just being true to who you are, it's fine. It's when people try and force a sort of different persona, or like speak a way that they would never speak, and then it just comes across as like disingenuous almost. It feels quite fake or quite forced.
Yeah. And do you know, I've just realized I haven't sworn at all yet.
You're doing well. I think I've
been on my best behavior. I didn't mean to be. Not very authentic.
I think you're doing okay. So we were speaking a little bit there about how social media is mostly a good thing, and I think we both agree on that. But I know that I've felt it, especially over the last year, I think just because of everything that's going on and from spending more time on it, but I've definitely fallen in and out of love with social media before the pandemic as well, but it seems to be a little bit more frequent over the past, what are we at now, 8 months, 9 months, whatever it is. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you experience that as well? Do you kind of work through that with your clients at all? How do you handle that?
I do. I definitely get social media fatigue. I find for a while, when I first began with social media, I was taking my phone everywhere. Like everything was an Instagram image. And I do say that to clients a lot of the time, but I have stopped taking my phone with me a lot now. Not a lot, maybe 10% of the time. For me, that's a lot. So I've just been leaving my phone at home to stop myself from, you know, pictures for Instagram, or let's do this, or, you know, let's do that so we can take pictures. It's sort of a social media manager thing though, a lot of the time, but zombie scrolling is a massive thing that I have a problem with. And I know loads of people do. Do you know, I wasn't so bad until Reels came out. I keep talking about Reels, but I am a bit obsessed with Reels. I've never been on TikTok or anything, but I am so obsessed with Reels. I will sit there and scroll, keep scrolling. And then it's like 25 minutes. And I think, oh my God, what am I doing? I could be doing all these other things. I should be reading a book. So I try not to do that as much now. And I do try to put my phone down from 9 o'clock. I try to turn my phone off to stop from doing that stuff. But yeah, very recently I have had like a bit of a thing with social media where I felt a bit burnt out with it. And that's sort of what got me to move from social media management to more of a collaborative sort of role and consult with people and to like help them work on their own social media. I had to take a step back because I was finding first thing in the morning, and I know this is for a lot of people that don't even work in social media, my phone was going off and there was like 18 messages or notifications before I'd even had a cup of coffee, and I'd be straight on it because you can't leave a notification and not look. I mean, no one does that. So yeah, I had to step back and take a little break. And I went into community engagement for a little bit, community management and engagement for a little bit, just to give myself a little bit of a breather to find if that's what I want to keep doing. But do you know, I've missed it. I never thought I'd say that. And it's probably obvious because my feed has been a lot more populated since I haven't been managing other people's accounts and I haven't been on social media as much. I mean, obviously for community management you are, but it's a different sort of thing. It's not all about the content and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think sometimes it's really important for people to step back. If you're feeling that you need a break from it, you're not going to lose 50 followers if you take a week off social media. It is not going to hurt you. And I think especially between Christmas and New Year, a lot of people are scared. I always tell people just to take that time off. People are looking, but they're not probably going to be buying stuff, although they could be doing the sales. But, a few days off social media, a week, 2 weeks, you're not going to lose all your followers because you've taken a bit of time off. And it's just super important for, I think, mental health and stuff like that to just back away sometimes and just, give yourself some space and some time to not be looking at a screen all the time. It's quite full on. I think life is quite full on, emails and all that stuff. If you're glued to social media as well, where's the time to do anything?
That's how I feel like it's a real struggle. So I've got my small fish account for my brand photography. Then I've got a separate account for this podcast. And then I have a third account for my wedding and family work. So trying to stay on top of all three of those accounts. And as you say, like my actual physical work, emails that need answering, blogs that need writing, and obviously taking and editing all the photos. Like sometimes I feel like I don't stop working, and I'm trying to be a bit better. You said you kind of have a rule at 9 o'clock, you try and put your phone down. I'm trying to do that as well, sort of give myself windows to be on social media and give myself windows for other tasks. But the notifications are awful, because as soon as my phone buzzes, I'm like, oh, I better go and check that. And I mean, realistically, I'm not a surgeon. Nothing I do is life and death. Nothing I do can't wait an hour or 2 hours, but it's almost like you have to train your mind and actually hold yourself accountable to just sticking to those windows of time, or to taking a day off or a week off or whatever you feel you need.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to hurt anyone. I'm sort of at the point now where if my phone goes off, my 9-year-old will say, who's sending you a message, Mama? And I'll go, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Just leave it. Don't you be worrying about who's sending me a message. I feel like it's sort of drawn down to him a little bit now that he's seen me previously, like jumping onto my phone. And so now he thinks everything's important that comes in on my phone, and he's just trying to help me. But that's so bad. That was like a real wake-up call. Put your stupid phone down.
I know. I think there's a lot of guilt associated with that as well, because I always think that I don't want Charlie, like she's only 3.5, I don't want her to feel like my phone gets priority over her. So I do kind of have a rule, like when she gets home from nursery, I try and put my phone in the bedroom until she goes to bed. So I have those kind of 1.5 hours or 2 hours where she is my focus, and then I can go back and do like a bit of engagement or whatever at night. But it's a weird thing to have to navigate. Like, think of our parents' generation. This was not a thing for them. They don't understand this need to like be constantly on the phone.
It's crazy. Like, it's meant to help us, but it's not helping us at all. It's making us all more stressed, because people, when we worked in an office, our parents used to leave the office and that was the end. And now we're leaving the office and coming home and checking emails on weekends and responding. That's another thing. I've stopped myself from doing that a little bit, but responding to emails straight away, 9 o'clock at night. Why do we do that? That's lunatic work, isn't it?
I'm really trying to be better at that as well. I've gotten better with the emails, but it's sometimes I think with social media, people just expect it. And I don't know if you're feeling this, but I'm finding with the pandemic, people are a little bit more, they're expecting quicker answers. I don't know if it's just because everybody's at home and there's not as much going on and everybody's a bit bored, but I've definitely found that if I don't respond kind of right away or within a few hours, even if I just wait until the next day, I already have a second email a lot of the time, just being like, did you get my last email, sort of thing. So I mean, I'm not trying to blame anybody for that. I get there's everybody's a bit fed up with what's going on just now, but yeah, it's a real challenge, because you really have to hold yourself accountable, and it's not easy to do. You want to build your business. I mean, most of us have lots of room to grow and lots of places that we want to get to, and it's hard to actually say to yourself, you cannot look at that email until tomorrow.
Oh, it's impossible, because then you think, what if it's just this? I'll just check it and see what it could be. But then most people, they aren't expecting a response. Well, some people aren't expecting a response straight away. I totally agree that people have become less patient since the pandemic, but generally I think people are happy to wait till the next day. But I just feel like I have to respond straight away. I am getting better at it though. I'm working on it.
A work in progress.
Yeah.